Welcome back to the Hotel Orloff. It is a beautiful and sunny Sunday afternoon, October 13th, 2024. Welcome back to the beautiful hotel. Welcome back to the Hotel Orloff here in sunny and majestic Rural Retreat, Virginia. We're going to be looking at some Silver Age comic books today and watching Donald Trump and who knows what other fun activities. So, let's see here, man. Turn off some of these lights. So how are you guys doing? Are you avoiding the horrible maladies out there like Pac-Man fever? Pfizer has a shot for that. Let's see. Well, Drew the dog, would you mind I sit here along with you? Because this is the chair from which we will look at these comic books today. Excuse me there, man. It's a little windy here, but other than that, it's a fantastic day. Okay. What are in these boxes? I don't even know. Oh, I see. Well, nah, that's too high up. Earlier, we were looking at a box filled with Silver Age Batman comics, and that was fun. So now I just pulled another random box that seems to be one that starts with C and goes through F, the beginning of my Fantastic Four collection. This is Challengers of the Unknown, number 42. This is not my oldest Challengers of the Unknown. It's just the first one that's in this box. I just have everything from 1971 and back alphabetized in these boxes from DC and Marvel. And then, I think there's earlier Challengers of the Unknown in the previous box, which is not here. Holy cats. Here's another copy of the same one. Let's open this one up and enjoy it. People are going into the Trump rally in Arizona. How about that? And then David Wilcock will be on. Someone just commented, that I had a great show. Oh, that was Meyer Greenblatt. This is number 52. Now look at this ad on the back. Make a friend, build Big Frankie, the friendliest monster in town. Now, the actual name of this model kit was Gigantic Frankenstein, but a lot of people, monster collectors, call him Big Frankie because that's how he was kind of marketed. I mean, how much bigger is Big Frankie on the ad than the actual name? He has movable arms and a chain and a rock. And there is all plastic assembly. That's hard to read backwards. All plastic assembly kit, almost 2 feet high. From Aurora Plastics Corporation, West Hempstead, New York. And the Doom. Well, this is a fantastic comic. Fantastic, I tell you. turn this up. This is going to be an interesting month or two coming up. Oh, look at this. Make it a happy holiday with the best in comics. They want you to subscribe to their comics that don't sell as well. Challengers of the Unknown, Sea Devils, Doom Patrol, Blackhawk, Metal Men, and The Brave and the Bold. Those are all great comics, but those were ones that when I've been collecting comics since 1969 when I was 4. But I didn't have a comic book store to go to until the summer of 77. The local newspaper had an article, and it said a comic book store is opened. And I'm 12, and I see this. I can't believe it, in my town. And there's a nice, friendly guy there standing there in front of boxes of comic books in the picture. And they say he was a local art teacher. And he's now selling comics in a comic store. His name was Buddy Saunders, and the name of the store was Lone Star Comics and Science Fiction. Just a few short weeks after Star Wars opened in the theater, there was an actual comic book store, and he couldn't have chosen a better time to open a science fiction store than the summer that Star Wars came out. And it was a tiny, tiny store. I mean, it really, really was small. But it was wonderful, and I have such cherished memories of that store that really wasn't that much bigger than a small bedroom in a typical American house. But when it opened, comics, that's the way I like comic book collecting to be. Where did the dog go, man? He disappeared. I like comics to be rated fair, good, fine, mint. I don't like the CGC stuff. I don't like anything. That store only had new comics out. It had the old comics in boxes. It had magazines. It had undergrounds back kind of in the corner behind the counter. They weren't really undergrounds. I think they were more ground level comics like Cerebus and, I don't remember the names of those things, but and then he had science fiction paperbacks. It was that's the way it was. The old school comic collectors were into science fiction books and into comics. And luckily, Magic the Gathering and Dungeons and Dragons, all the role-playing games and Funko Pops and all that stuff had not crowded into the collecting world or sports cards or any of that. It was just a pure experience of immersing yourself into comics and science fiction, Lone Star Comics. And when it opened, I saw these old comics, and I was amazed, and I couldn't afford a lot of them, being 12 years old, but some titles were what I considered to be old. Now I realize they were only 10, 12 years old, because in 1977, a comic from 1967 seemed impossibly old to me. It was only 10 years old, but it seemed like I was, picking up the Declaration of Independence or some ancient scroll, the Dead Sea Scrolls or something. But some titles like Challengers of the Unknown you could afford. There were certain titles you could. And I found that I could afford Thor comics, Fantastic Four, titles I really loved, in very good or good condition, where they were held together. They looked presentable. The staples were holding the book together, and you could read them. I could afford those books. I couldn't afford the Amazing Spider-Man books. So what I did is I just realized, okay, I'm going to collect these books. And Amazing Spider-Man, I guess I'm going to have to be happy with Marvel Tales reprints, because the Amazing Spider-Man's always been expensive. And man, this is so great. Look at these. Look at these characters. Oh, but as far as Gigantic Frankenstein, let me show you what he actually looks like in real life. It's really, because I'm not just a comic book collector. I mean, I love comic books, but I also I collect many things here in this museum, here in the lobby of the Hotel Orloff. Like, there he is, man. The gigantic Frankenstein that you just saw in that ad. How about that? So, oh, I was listening. I thought this was an Asian lady, but I guess she's not.
So much of this is just nonsense and BS that's coming out.
Of course, people are smart, and people are not. We don't want to believe the lies anymore. They feel it.
She's Eastern European, Russian, possibly.
Really good in the world, and we supposed to be free.
Oh man, things are going to get better, ladies and gentlemen. They, as John Lennon said, they can't get much worse, right?
That's amazing. So. If you could tell President Trump something right now, what is your message?
Of course, the Challengers of the Unknown was they were created by Jack Kirby, and at this point, who's drawing this? And the stuff that the pharmaceutical industry has put onto our people has hurt. This is Challengers of the Unknown, number 42.
Seen how it's devastated the population. That needs to be brought to. If anything, I hope after he becomes into president with JFK Jr. as well. I mean, with Robert Kennedy Jr. I'm sorry. That they're going to go after these pharmaceutical industries.
I have 2 copies of this issue. This one looks like it's in better shape. One of those great purple covers that DC like to do. The editors said, you know, if you want to sell a comic, give it a purple cover. Give it a gorilla on the cover. A dinosaur, that would always work. Oh, the dog is barking. I gotta get the dog to stop barking because my wife's about to start her work shift. She works from home, and the dog barking will try to create problems. So I need to lure the dog downstairs. I don't know why she's barking up there. This is look at that hair. That's great. Here comes the dog. Here comes the dog. Do. Here comes the dog, and I say, she's barking. This is Join the Fun with G.I. Joe. This is the rollout of G.I. Joe in 1965. Or was it 64? I think it was 65. Let's look at the date of this comic. The very first G.I. Joes. No, I'm right. August, September 65. This is so great. Look at that hair, man. Look at that hair. So the thing about comics is they're like a time capsule. And what these kids today, I mean 30-year-olds, the people collecting comics now that have a lot of disposable income, that buy these, that are getting into collecting now, they buy slabbed comics that they can never see the inside of, and I don't see the fun of that. I like to look at the ads, man. I love it. I love the whole experience of a comic, and it immerses you into a different time period. 40 Army, Navy, Marine patches, and then you can get, look at these. How many are you getting here? 126 World War II Army men for 99 cents. Now, what they don't tell you is they're this big. But you find out when you order it, don't you? My brother ordered a Civil War set. He found that out. I remember the disappointment in his eyes. Oh, there's LBJ. He was a terrible president. A lot of the problems we're facing now go back to him and to the Kennedy assassination. But there is just... Wouldn't it have been great if they'd made a Challengers of the Unknown Saturday morning cartoon? What do you think about that, Drusilla the dog? Would you have watched that? There was another great comic DC put out, the Doom Patrol. And then in, was it the probably late 80s, early 90s, they came out with this art school version of Doom Patrol where, I don't know, some people love it. The art is horrible, I thought. And it's like written for people going to art school, you know, it's all... I don't know, I guess it's great, but that's more what they're doing with the Doom Patrol series that came out a few years ago, is trying to be like that. But that's not... Doom Patrol was great. There was a Metal Men comic. It was wonderful. No one's ever tried to turn that into a TV series yet. I'm sure they'd screw that up too. Here's the Chowls meet the Doom Patrol. So the two great teams meet. And so Doom Patrol was another comic I could afford in the late 70s, early 80s, before the art school version came out. And then for a while, the price on the old Doom Patrol started to go up. I don't know where it is now. Now, Aurora model kits. They've got, there's a Batmobile model kit, Robin, Batman, the Batplane, Man from U.N.C.L.E. These two kits link together. That wall kind of goes together, and you've got Napoleon Solo and Ilya Kuryakin. You got the Sea View from Voyage to the Bottom of the Sea, Zorro, Cyclops from the pilot of Lost in Space. Then you got the Marvel heroes, and then the more DC heroes. For a while, that was a very hard to get kit because Nabisco, the Nabisco company that makes the crackers, bought Aurora out, and all the molds for these model kits were shipped by train to wherever Nabisco was headquartered. And there was some problem with the train. I don't know if it derailed, but a bunch of the molds got broken. But now they know how to make molds from existing model kits, that haven't ever been built. And so you can get the Wonder Woman kit. I think they did a repop of that. I think all of these kits have been reissued in some way. Challengers of the Unknown, number 61. I wish I could get more of these. I wish I could. I don't know. At a certain point, you just got to kind of give up. This comic's trashed. Completely trashed. But the cover, when the Aurora model kit monsters were put out in glow-in-the-dark form, this comic was one that came in one of those Wounded Wonder packs from Lone Star Comics. They would give you could, for $10 or something, they give you a big stack of comics, and you'd unwrap it, and they'd be comics like that. They're mostly all there, but all in bad shape. Challenges of the Unknown. And then this one reprints Jack Kirby stories from the 50s or very early 60s. Okay, and then it's a replica of Conan the Barbarian #1, and I have that in this box. All my Bronze Age Conan the Barbarian comics are in another box. Well, no, that's not true. I have several Conans in here. Yes. I actually have 2 copies of this replica of Conan the Barbarian. I consider the Silver Age to be, as long as Marvel had the corner box, I consider it Silver Age. When the corner box went away, I consider it Bronze Age. Now, other people have different ideas when Silver Age versus Bronze Age. Some people think that with Conan the Barbarian coming out, the first issue, that was like a complete change in course, and the Barbarian comics, and which became really popular in the 70s, and the horror, and that was the Conan the Barbarian #1 started the Bronze Age in the 1970s, and some people say, oh, it was when they killed off Gwen Stacy, Spider-Man's girlfriend, and that was several years into the 70s. To make it easy on myself, I just consider everything with a corner box to be, because as a kid in the 70s, if it had that, it was old. If it had the strip going across the top, it was more current, or Bronze Age, which no one called it the Bronze Age during the Bronze Age. You know, you just don't know what you're in at the time. World War One, at the time, they didn't call it World War One. No one knew there would be a World War Two. They called it the War to End All Wars, or the Great War. And when did they start calling it World War Two? I don't know. Were they calling it World War Two during World War Two? I wish I could ask my dad, but he's gone. That's one of those things. When was it officially dubbed World War Two? All right. Anyway, who cares? You don't care. You just want to see comic books because there's something wrong with you. 4. Okay, that's issue 4. That's my first real Conan the Barbarian, is issue 4. I wish I could get issue 3 with the Grim Gray God, because as a kid in 4th grade, I had a t-shirt, a white t-shirt with that cover of Conan #3 on it, and I love that shirt, but it's no longer with me. Here's Conan the Barbarian #6. Barry Smith. I mean, I'll call him Barry Windsor Smith if it makes him feel better. But he was Barry Smith back then. And he was, I'll prove it. Look, it says Barry Smith. And he was loved. This stuff was going over really well. 7. It just, issue 9. It's almost like I have every other issue. Look at the detail in the background. This stuff just makes me happy, so I like to pull it out from time to time and look through it, and you guys can watch. Daredevil #25 is my earliest Daredevil, because I guess my early Daredevils are reprinted in which one of the comics reprinted early Daredevil stories? I don't remember. Was it Marvel Tales? We'll find out in a minute. Here's Daredevil 27. Ooh. There's a disgusting looking stain there.
Supplies my hearing aids, and I ain't heard from him in 4 years. But when Trump was in, every 6 months they talk. You're the second person we've talked to that said everything with veterans was far better under Trump. So we're certainly hoping that things change and things get back, because this administration has just absolutely dropped the ball and has.
What number was that?
It's just how you hear
35.
You never hear about.
Here's 39.
About Americans.
Another comic I dearly loved. I'll still love. 40.
For Americans, I think that's why Trump's message resonates just as much as it does. If they erase history, they're going to repeat the same damn mistakes again. It's stupid. You know? You're absolutely right. Well, thank you so much. I appreciate it. Your first rally.
This is 44.
This is a great crowd. All these rallies, all these people here, all these pages, you're out here for the same reason. They want to make America great again.
This is 52 for a while. Jim Steranko was at Marvel, and other artists were trying to imitate Jim Steranko, and that appears to be what's going on here. That's not really Steranko, is it? I don't think that's Steranko, but it's someone really trying to look for. You can tell me in the comments below.
America great again.
All right, let me put these in.
So many great Trump stuff. I got confused here.
More.
Now, this is a limited edition. There's only 150 of these things made.
Here's
Sponsors at Patriotic just released another amazing product. Trump Combat Knives.
number 53.
These are high quality, custom made combat knives. They make an amazing gift for any Trump lover.
And 55. It looks like I have 2 copies of 55. And 56. This character is right out of that's from a movie called The Mask, not the Jim Carrey thing. It's a movie. It has 3D segments in it, or some, as I recall. It's you can look it up. The drawing is right from a still of The Mask.
Got some patriotic beauties. Look at this.
Come on.
The greatest country in the world. Only 4.5% of the world's population lives in the United States of America.
Anyway.
We're so blessed to be born on this soil. And these ladies know they're supporting Trump. I like your shirt. It says Trump won. We're a little worried about election integrity going into this next election, obviously. I feel like that's the only way, that we could see the other side win at this point. Look at this momentum and this crowd and the enthusiasm. Yeah, the crowd here is huge. It's amazing to see all these people turn out.
Beautiful artwork. This is Gene Colan.
He's America first, living in Arizona. I see what's happening at the border. I have family that works on the border, and it's an invasion,
Right.
and it needs to stop. In Cochise County or where? We're from Tucson, Arizona. So you have family that works on the border. What's it been like for them?
Beautiful.
We hear the stories
Oh,
about
wait, I want to show you something.
child trafficking, the drugs. It's destroying America, and it needs to end. You hear this crowd. We're not alone. Isn't it nice to not be alone in this fight? Look at all the people who turn out, and look at all
Yeah,
the
that's that mask.
How do you feel about what she's doing and thinking that women she's got them in their back pocket?
Yeah, that's cool.
Well, I always knew she was a fraud and phony, and I never fell for it. So this will be the third time I'm voting for Trump. So
57.
It must feel good to say that.
Another great cover.
Hillary, you didn't say she's not the right woman for the job.
62.
it's not about your race or whether you're a male or female. It's
You see, I can immediately spot Marie Severin, and I love Marie Severin's art.
Yeah, I'm scared for my
Just the expressiveness in the face. It's just the faces. It's.
You look at what happened to Laken.
She was great.
It's one of those situations where it's probably going to get worse. It's better. Kamala has already said she's for amnesty for potentially 20 to 25 million illegal immigrants. And think about what that could do to our economy as well. Yeah, not only the economy, but just the safety in our neighborhoods. I mean, I don't know.
66. I guess I had more Daredevils than I thought. Daredevil was a comic that you could afford back in the late 70s, early 80s. I could never get the early issues. Of course, they never had the early issues at Lone Star. Those all probably traded in back rooms and never made it to the store floor. So, but this is a comic I always loved.
Looking perfect. I hope he sees you in the audience. Thank you. God bless you. Trump and Bear.
There's 75.
We are going to give you a quick look at this crowd and then send it to our break. But take a look.
77.
The crowd has been coming in for hours now. We still have a long line of Patriots. Hopefully we'll get to
78.
after this quick break.
I'm missing 79. Here's 80. Followed by King Size Special, number 1. Daredevil. Now here's King Size Special, number 2. Okay. Now, here's DC Special number 2. All my other DC specials are going to be in the other boxes upstairs because this is the only one I consider Silver Age. This one is not in good shape, but it says top teen favorites and a hippie happy holiday happening. A hippie happy holiday happening. Aurora tried to experiment with games in addition to model kits and slot car racing, and so this is reprints of teenage comics that DC had done over the years. Basically Archie style comics.
You treat me like a dog and you expect me to smile?
Like Buzzy, Binky, Debbie. So, this is good. Leave it to Binky. Well, oh wait, no, there's another DC special. No, I'm sorry, there's several here. This is DC special number 3. When the corner box is what tips me off in my collection that it's Silver Age for Marvel. But as far as DC, as long as they're at 25 cents, it's Silver Age, or, 12 cents, 15 cents, 25 cents. When DC drops back to 20 cents, that begins the Bronze Age. In my world, it may be completely different in your collection. And that's great. Oh, that real cringy Kamala Harris ad with the real men talking about how they would vote for a woman. Damon Packard, go to his YouTube channel. He's done a re-edit of that commercial, and it's really good. You just got to trust me. Go watch it. I won't. This is reprinting stories involving the girls of DC Comics. So this is a lot of fun. This is my kind of thing. Look at this. Great Supergirl story. Look at that villainess. That's cool. The Maid of Menace. Man. An old Wonder Woman. Look at that. This is the all-girl issue, DC Special number 3. That's I highly recommend that to you. And DC special number 14, Wanted, the World's Most Dangerous Villains. They also had a regular series called Wanted there around 72. And maybe it went for 5-6 issues with reprints of old stories with villains. That I recommend that. Okay, so this came out a while. We're getting into Detective Comics. Obviously, this is a facsimile. Because of the way Golden Age comics were wider, so what they did when they had to make this skinnier, so they put more room at the top. The original Detective Comics 27 would not, first appearance of Batman, just in case you don't know, it wouldn't have all this yellow at the top. And the bottom would cut off, should cut off. I'll show you, because they did a really bad job here. Okay. Originally, the bottom would be like that. Okay. See how the hand, the guy with the green jacket on holding the gun, it doesn't look weird. But then they had to add to the art to stretch it out. So look, someone added that. And now the arm doesn't look like it belongs on his body. So it looks okay there. But when you continue the lines out, it looks awful. So that's not good. Now, they've just done a new facsimile of this about 2-3 weeks ago for Batman Day. And it's supposed to be actual size of a Golden Age comic, but it isn't. It's actually too big. It's more like the size of a magazine. But the cover is the right proportions. That's one thing they got right. But inside that other one, they have... inside the other one, they've made all the pages look brown to make it look like an old comic. And the whole point of a facsimile is to feel like you're actually buying that comic back in, February of 1939. No, yeah. No, February, March. No, it'd be more like March, right? It'd be March of 1939. Whatever cover date a comic has, the books come out a couple of months before that cover date. So wonderful. So that's that. Wow, okay. All right. Another facsimile is Detective 38 with the first appearance of Robin. Looks okay. Too much space at the top. That should not be on the cover. Later, DC's doing a better job now. They put the barcode on the back. See, because here's a more recent one, Detective Comics number 58. The barcode is no longer on the front. Much better job that they did here. And then they've also done a facsimile of issue 140 with the first Riddler. So this is a really fun thing, There's a friend of the show, Kevin Johnson, that runs Gotham City Comics. And whenever I talk to him on when he gets his new comics in, it's not that exciting here's his phone number. It's not that exciting to ask, well, what new comics are out? I always ask, what new facsimiles are in? In other words, what new old comics, replicas of old comics? That's what I'm interested in. And so now I have actual real Detective Comics to show you. This is Detective Comics 271, 10 cents. So this is going to be from the 50s. Here's Detective Comics 298, The Menace of Clayface. Beautiful cover. Someone did some math. I don't know if that's the news dealer that wrote those numbers. You can see that this comic once belonged to Betty. Betty is one of those names. Girls don't get named Betty anymore. It's kind of an old-fashioned name, but it should come back. Betty and Veronica, Betty Page. There's a lot of great Bettys. Betty Davis. Well, Betty Davis spelled differently. Detective Comics number 306. And don't call this tech. There's these new comic collectors. They like to speak in acronyms to sound like they really are with it and they're part of a secret club. Yeah, I've got my copy of Tech 38. No, don't do that. And they say, I've got it in my PC. That means personal collection. I bought it at the LCS, my local comic store. I balk and object to anything new because I'm like Mikey, the kid in the Life cereal commercial. I don't like anything. Don't change my comic collecting hobby. This is what I want it to stay the way it was when I started collecting comics. I don't want any change. And,
where's the TSA in that? Where's the Department of State in that when it comes to international travel? Travel internationally, you know what it's like to fill out.
this is cool. Look at that. The Flying Bat Cave. Incredible. Here's the Catman Strikes Back. Isn't that amazing? Great Scott, Batwoman has joined forces with the Catman and become the Catwoman. Menace of the Robot Brain. Looks kind of a lot like maybe it's Dr. Doom, but it isn't. This is 324. Always like this cover. I think that says 320. Batman and Robin are mummies.
Speaking of channels, regular lifetime broadcast. Thank you again for joining us. It's about 12 after 1 o'clock. Mike Ford and Christine
326.
along with our camera ops who are out there.
There's a tear here, but you almost don't see it because from a distance it looks just like it's part of this weird alien's head. But yeah, this is not top condition. This one, the number is on a purple background and it's impossible to read. I mean, you probably could read it, but I'm half blind. Here's 330.
So we're seeing President Trump with huge leads throughout the country in various polls. But regardless, at the end of the day, we still have to vote. And I know what we will be doing, whether it's early voting, whether it's stay
So,
coming up in just 23 days.
wait, what am I doing?
I can't believe that military video that President Trump showed
What?
at all of the events. If you guys
What? 271, 298. Just a moment. What did I do wrong here?
13 minutes after the hour, Matthew Outlook here, Lifestyle Broadcasting Network. If you want to follow us on Truth Social, it's at RSBN and then at RSB Network on X. For those of you watching on X, Facebook, Rumble.
Sorry, ladies and gentlemen, I'm all confused here.
Thank you so much for watching. Let's go back out to RSBN. Mike Fortin and Christina Loren right now.
Welcome back to Prescott, Arizona, where Donald Trump is expected to speak at 2 p.m. this afternoon.
All right, I just totally confused myself here.
Since we got here at 7 a.m.
Okay.
And the crowd, as you're going to see now, has just ballooned.
298.
You guys can see. Give it up for President Trump.
06.
I mean, listen to this crowd. It's absolutely electric.
330. How did I get these out of order?
All right, there you go. I mean, this crowd is
3.
bonkers
357.
Tens of
Ooh.
thousands of people. The seats inside the arena where we are today hold about 13,000 people. And I can tell you that this crowd right now seems like it certainly has
271.
surpassed that amount. And there's probably going to be some people who are stuck outside, unfortunately, as we've seen at so many different rallies. Yesterday at Coachella, you've heard me say this before, over 100,000 people attended the Coachella rally. In Butler, also over 100,000 people. President Trump is the ticket to have. If you are
Oh, I see what I
in
did.
favor
No, I
of this
still don't
country
see what I
coming
did.
back alive and getting to where we
I'll
are
pretend
today,
I understand.
President Trump's rallies, the unity, the happiness, the love fest that this has turned into. So many people, so many
Okay,
great
I think I showed you
show
this one.
support for President Trump. So many young people. We've heard so many veteran issues now.
306, 330,
Having to come back to work and
357.
enjoy his retirement due to the disaster of an economic plan that has been the Biden-Harris
352.
administration for the past 3.5 years. Truly just
All right, it's all confusing.
for some of our older Americans now. I'd like to
298,
walk a little bit
306.
and talk to some folks here. How are you, sir? Awesome. What's your name and where are you from?
Sorry, ladies and gentlemen.
Okay, awesome. Prescott, correct? I gotta keep checking myself. I don't want to say Prescott because I was told that.
298,
Really? Okay. So Prescott.
306.
I know the crowd's moving. We'll make sure that you get your spot. What are some of the main issues that have been affecting you as an older American, and what is Donald Trump's message that really resonates?
326. Okay, all right, man. What I was wanting to show you is something I pointed out before. You've got the black bat symbol, and then between 326 and 330 in 1965, they added the yellow oval behind the bat, and they tried to go from what was, they were thinking, okay, this is getting too silly, and they tried to make Batman more serious and make him more, the Dark Knight detective and everything. And that was called the New Look. And those tweaks lasted until, well, the yellow oval, of course, went on to the TV series. But the TV series, being a comedy, caused the comic book that had just in 1965 gotten more serious, and then 1966 the TV show starts, so they kind of add more silliness back into the comic, but the yellow oval did continue. That's 357. Okay, then this is a book I bought at Lone Star Comics. I don't remember paying a huge amount for it, but it's now this is a very valuable book. It's the first appearance of Batgirl, who was created for the third season of the TV series. This is her first comic book appearance. I mean, there's a little bit of a fingerprint there, and it's not in perfect condition, but this is a sought-after book. At least it used to be. I don't know what people seek after nowadays, but I don't think I paid much for this. I would have remembered paying a lot for a book. 360. When we get into this time period, there's millions of there's a lot of these books out there because this was selling really well because of the TV series, and this cover is incredible. I don't know if it's sought after. I don't know. I don't understand why people. I don't understand people and what they seek after. I don't know. Okay, there's. This is issue number. I can't even read it. But I have 2 copies of it. 369.
President Trump, we have an individual that actually cares. He's been down there to the border many times. I've been with him to the border many times. I've been to the White House several times when he was in office. And we know what this country needs. Because I'm going to tell you, if we get 4 million
Here's 371. I always like this cover. She can't help because she has a run in her tights. Batgirl, get over here. Help us. We've got a problem. I have a bigger one. A run in my tights. That's 371. 375. 380. 383. And this is their big 30th anniversary issue, 387.
I'm excited to show you an app I've been using for a while. It's called Kalshi, and it's the first legal exchange where you can trade and bet on any event. For the first time in 100 years, they got approved to list markets to trade on the outcome of the upcoming election, making it legal to trade on the election in the
They try to get serious again after, in this 392. We entered into this era. This is 403. I'm not sure if they just did a facsimile of this or not, this issue. Here's 422. It's not in a bag and board. I know that's a sin. I'll do it someday when I get bags and boards. Actually, there's less of an excuse because you can get bags and boards, I think, through Amazon. So I could just have them delivered. So I can't keep using, well, comic store is an hour away, This is 424. Oh, and then I've got a Doctor Strange 174. Doctor Strange took on the numbering from Strange Tales. So there weren't 173 previous issues of Doctor Strange. And then this comic went under. And then he came back in the early 70s and what was it, Marvel Premiere Comics? And then he got his own title several times. But you can tell he's not selling well because they've got because you got Spider-Man gigantic on the cover and he's just a head there. He wasn't, and they also tried to give him a costume and make him, have his face covered and everything. They didn't really know what to do with him. I mean, Steve Ditko knew what to do with him, but he was going well even after Ditko left. And this stuff was good too. It's just they were desperately trying to get the comic to sell. You can tell that. I mean, the artwork's fantastic. I don't know why it wasn't selling. Maybe because people are stupid. There's no telling. Some people are stupid.
Oh, it's okay. I'll let you finish your watermelon. Hey, watermelon's one of those fruits that helps you stay hydrated. Tell me a little bit about what you can. Be mad.
See, here's an example of DC doing a good-looking facsimile without the barcode on the front. This is a facsimile of the first appearance of the Doom Patrol in My Greatest Adventure number 80. That's a comic that came out, I think, maybe a year ago. And this is My Greatest Adventure number 82. This is a real comic, not a fake one. This is my Doom Patrol collection here that I dearly love. So here's 84. Here's 86. Ooh, beautiful. 87. 89.
We just love him. I think he's funny. I think he's great. I think he's going to be a great leader. He is what we need right now so bad. Do you think our country is at risk
90.
I don't know. I just look at all these people, you know? I mean, this is country.
91.
Better.
We need him. We need Trump. Go Trump.
Missing 92 and 93. I have all of the stories in hardcover books that reprint them, but you know, it's better to have the original comics, in my opinion.
That's very important.
Tax on tips, no tax on overtime. And he's
There's 96.
RSPN. Oh, cool. You guys can go back and watch this. But I'll let you get
And
back to
97.
Thank you. God bless you. Thanks for stopping and spending some time with us. RSPN. Hey, I like your shirt. Let me ask you something. Gun owners are one of the groups that are not expected to show up and vote as they should in this election. What would you say to your fellow hunters out there that might be watching?
I can't believe it. I cannot believe that statistic. That's got to be made up. Absolutely. Where did you hear that?
President Trump just said it at a rally a couple nights ago, and evangelicals are the other group that aren't showing up.
I can't believe it. That's not what people are doing. People that are gun owners know what's going on. Absolutely.
What people don't know about gun owners and hunters in general is that hunters are the ultimate conservationists, and it's
What is going on here?
but all the taxes from the hunting, the bullets, the rifles, themselves, it goes back to repopulate the environment.
That's not the reason for the Second
89.
Tell me
Okay.
about that.
Second Amendment is to protect people from the government. That's what the Second Amendment's all about.
Here's 101.
It's not about hunting and self-protection. It's to protect us from the government.
You're right. I was thinking of that hunting thing because
Wait a second. I'm not showing you this stuff in order.
I don't think so.
But you're right. And what happens if we lose the Second Amendment?
89.
We'll probably lose the country. First step would be really taking it.
Even though Kamala Harris says she has a block.
So,
Believe it? Yeah, I believe it. I think she has more than one.
let me figure this out. I'm messing everything up.
Oh, I like what you're going with.
98.
Surprise me with how intelligent they are. All right, guys, we're gonna move back here. We got a man.
Okay.
A man with a cape.
Okay. Did I already show you this? I don't know.
What do you like
I don't
about
think
this
so.
Trump support?
This is 98.
I
All right. So the next issue is
Neat one. I love your bullet.
important because
Statement alone.
it's the first appearance of Beast Boy, who would later join the new Teen Titans
What part of Texas are you from?
as Changeling.
North Austin.
But
Texas is another border state. Talk about a
this is an original copy. They've recently come out with a facsimile, and you can see the difference. There's a difference in coloring,
3.5 years, so it's like, why not?
but it's pretty close, I guess. I mean, it's
Thank you so much for spending some
original
time
is
with us.
darker.
Me too. The crowd keeps moving. Last thing I want to do is hold anybody up from getting that choice seats. I have a gentleman here who has a beautiful daughter.
So that's a key issue to the morons that only buy key issues. So they would only buy that one and first appearances, but they wouldn't buy this because it's not a key issue. 101. Yeah, this I was showing you this stuff out of order. Here's 102.
That's a whole other subject. But when you talk about Christianity and freedom of religion is on the ballot this year,
103.
in a country where you can't proclaim your love for Jesus out loud.
Here's 104.
I hope you're right.
Wedding
I know
issue.
I'm putting in some big requests with the big man. I believe it. You know what?
105.
Twice. 2 times God has saved Trump. That's a very popular shirt.
106.
Say what it says. You read it if you're watching us right now. That's probably the most popular shirt I've seen out here. Kamala Harris has a pretty
107.
track record if you do some real research on it. But thank you
guess I have 2 copies of 108. I want to just watch this Trump rally. I'm going to have to end this show pretty soon here. 109, someone's written on the M there, February 1967. It's a great. Okay, what was that? 108 or 109? There's 110. I have a pretty good run of Doom Patrol. I mean, I'm missing a few issues here and there, but like I'm missing 111. Here's 112, so I could use an issue 111. 113. Someone once sold this for 5 cents at a garage sale. 98 through 113. Here's 114. There's an astronaut model kit. Aurora just advertised all the time in DC Comics. They never really, as far as I know, advertised with Marvel. Usually you can pretty much count on the back cover being an Aurora ad. Here they're advertising the Tarzan model kit. Here's 116. Now the Doom Patrol did something weird in that in their last issue. There's another Aurora ad, but they're selling the Get Smart car, slot car. 117, 118. Well, what they did, 119, like an LSD kind of cover. Oh no.
What do you do for a living? Oh, lucky you.
120.
How's the economy affecting you? Are you on a fixed income or how's everything working?
But anyway, 121, they kill off the Doom Patrol. For about 10 years, maybe. They come back in an issue when they revive Showcase. They kind of have the new Doom Patrol. Then I moved to the Fantastic Four, one of my favorite comics. Again, I don't have a very... Well, I actually have a pretty good 1960s collection of Fantastic Four. Not the early issues. Here's the earliest one I have is 15, and it's in pretty awful shape. 17, it's in even worse shape. And then, but most of my Fantastic Fours are going to be in the next box, which is upstairs. If you want to see them, you just got to tell me in the chat down below. So I don't know if I keep saying, please tell me what you want to see. I got this one for like, I don't know, $15, something ridiculously cheap. It's issue 24. This one's 28. The title's been cut off because it was a remainder. And here I have 29. And what's the last one in this box? It's 31. So, all my other Fantastic Fours are upstairs.
But you know, like I said, there's so much for everybody here. It's truly just so many. What's your name and where you from?
this box.
What he did when he was in before, and now how they screwed it all up.
This box is all Marvel Tales, which is a comic that allows you to, well, it came out in the 60s and it reprinted the early appearances of all these heroes. And this is issue number 2 from 1965. I don't have issue number 1. That's kind of high priced. My wife just sent me a text message. I better go talk with her real quick. I will be right back. I'll turn it around so you can watch. Or hold on. Yeah, I'll turn it around so you can watch the rally, the coverage.
For your dedication to America. I love you.
Well, there you have it. Another wonderful Patriot here. Thank you so much. Have a wonderful day and enjoy it. Enjoy the time. Excuse me, sir. All right. Like I said, I keep saying it. There's so many. Hi, guys. How are you? How are you? Is it okay if they're on camera? Absolutely. What's your name?
Bentley.
How's that hot dog?
Good.
Awesome. What's your name?
Raider?
Good stuff. Are you guys happy to see President Trump today?
Yes.
What do you guys think about President Trump? President Trump pretty cool?
Yes, I wish he could be the president again.
That is awesome. These kids are raised so well, Mom. Mom, with everything that's going on, what are some of the big issues for you?
Securing our borders for sure, and making sure that we still have freedom of speech and our firearms.
Absolutely. Well, hey, thank you so much for that. I appreciate it. Take care, guys. Have fun. Man, what a cute kid. And hey, how are you, sir? Awesome. What's your name? Where are you from?
Sean Fitzpatrick from Ehrenberg, Arizona.
Awesome. What you flag me down? What do you want to tell President Trump?
Get it done. Just take care of business. He knows what he needs to do.
What do you do for a living?
I'm retired.
Absolutely. Man, so many folks that are retired now, and
enjoying life.
Hey, that's great. I was talking to someone earlier. I've said this now 10 times. 70 years old. He's been retired. He's enjoying retirement. Retired better. And now.
Drew, you took my seat again. She was wanting to make sure I ate breakfast. And I said, yeah, I ate breakfast. And she was wanting to make sure I'm eating, So, come on, Drew. I gotta sit here, man, with you. We're looking at Marvel Tales, man. So, now, Drew. Drew, what the heck? Drew, you gotta move to my side, man. You can't be a cushion I sit on. Yeah, she was making sure I ate. And she's also wanting to make sure I ate lunch because it is lunchtime, but I had a snack. Drew, would you move over a little bit? Seriously, man. Drew, you're acting like a communist, man. Okay, now you got it. Okay, you can get this book cheap. Maybe not the first issue, but this is one of the best bargains out there for you. If you're just getting into comic collecting, this is what you got to get. Because you get the experience of reading the real issues that would cost you thousands of dollars, if not as much as your house cost you for stuff like that. And this book is like those giant size DC books that reprinted their old stories. These stories weren't as old as the stories DC was reprinting. I mean, this is I was buying these when I first went into Lone Star Comics in the summer of '77. It was so wonderful to get these big, thick books, and it's a Silver Age book, and but it is reprinting stories from just a few short years before, like this Ant-Man story. But it still looks and smells like a Silver Age book, Thor story. And you just pick up a run of this Marvel Tales, and you're reading the stories that now you could never afford these books. There's
Let me ask you this: if you had advice to give Kamala Harris and Tim Walz, what would that be? Give up.
Here is a Steve Ditko Spider-Man story where he's meeting the Lizard for the first time. This is originally from Spider-Man number 6. So it's I always recommend this book. And there was also Marvel's Greatest Comics, which actually started as Marvel Collector's Item Classics, and that reprinted Fantastic Four and Iron Man, I'm thinking, and so here's issue 4.
About one of our great sponsors, William Glenn. At RSBN, we'd like to thank our newest sponsor and those of you who love Christmas. Christmas will love them. A big RSBN welcome to William Glenn and WilliamGlenn.com. For over 60 years, our friends at WilliamGlenn.com have been saying Merry Christmas.
So you got all the great ads. Now you can join the speed revolution. And got an Ant-Man story, Thor, and it tells you originally presented in Journey into Mystery 86, November 1962. Then you've got a Human Torch story from Strange Tales from the very early part of the Silver Age. And you've got I like that reflection in Spider-Man's eye there. Yeah, this Spider-Man 7, December 63. Whoa. December 63. That means that this issue of Spider-Man 7, the original one, was probably still on the stands when Kennedy was... I don't know if you're allowed to say that word on YouTube. But this is a book I would recommend that you get. So it's a lot of fun. Marvel, and it doesn't, if you were to buy these books, the original books, you might end your marriage. Buying this book, you could probably get it. Sometimes you can get these Marvel Tales books for under $5, seriously, because some comic stores just trying to get rid of them. Oh, it's a reprint book, but no, it's a wonderful reprint book. Here's number 5.
You had to tell someone, I usually ask people what they want to tell President Trump. If you wanted to look in the camera and tell Kamala Harris and Tim Wall something, what would you tell them?
Number 6.
Honestly, if I could tell Trump anything, it's, let's bring out all the dirt on these people. Let's stop hiding around. Let's bring it out. Let's get this over with.
We got to get out and vote.
Number 7.
And if you can vote sooner, do it. Tell your friends, your family, cousins, uncles, whatever it may be, to get out and vote, because that's the only way.
Another copy of number 7. I have duplicates of some of these because I went to a Dallas Fantasy Fair just right before COVID, and they had a bunch of these local comic dealer, and they're selling them for $2 each, and it's like that's almost like giving them away, and I had to pick them up, so I wound up with duplicates. This is number 8. I'm getting tired. Oh man, I don't have 9. Oh no, wait, what? 7. What? Oh wait, I do too. Wait, yeah, I have 8. I don't have 9. I've got to get issue number 9. Why don't I have 9? Here's 10. That's something I got to get on, man, is finding Marvel Tales number 9. Last Frontier Comics. If you're watching this, tell me if you've got an issue number 9. I bet you do. This is here's issue 11, and I have another issue 11 here that's not bagged and boarded, so let's look at it.
And I don't want our country to fall apart, and I don't trust Kamala.
What don't you trust about Kamala?
Here's the bullpen page. Let's see what other books are out this month.
Well, I think your boys are great.
Not Brand Eck number 4. That's a good issue. Fantastic Four 68 was out that month. Spider-Man 54, yeah. I actually have that issue. Avengers 45, I have that one. X-Men 37, possibly the most dramatic trial of all. Daredevil 33, Thor 145. Suspense 95. Iron Man battles the grotesque gray gargoyle.
Her sons on what's right. They know that. I mean, the first answer we got.
No, there was another reprint book called Fantasy Masterpieces. I forgot to mention that. That one reprinted Golden Age stories. Sometimes they cleaned them up to make them more politically correct, even though political correctness wasn't really a thing in the 60s. They still didn't want to have really extreme anti-Japanese or German propaganda reprinted 20 years later when they are now our friends. You see that skull there? Or see the bike decal I had there? The skull there? I had 2 of those on the back of my childhood wagon. The wagon's still in the garage. There may be so much rust you can't see the decals. They're replied by my older brother to it. Ah, here we go. And those the CBS was advertising in DC for their Saturday morning lineup, but here ABC is advertising in Marvel Comics. Boy, have we got a Saturday morning spectacular for you. 7 of the most sensational cartoon extravaganzas ever to leap at you from your Titanic TV screen, including the Fantastic Four, came on at 9:30 a.m. Okay, hold on. 9 a.m. would have been Casper. Then Fantastic Four was at 9:30. So if you want to really create a true Saturday morning lineup, you got to watch the cartoons in this order to simulate what it was like to be a kid in 1967. So 9:30, then at 10, so you had Fantastic Four followed by Spider-Man. Okay. Wow. Then at 10:30, you've got Journey to the Center of the Earth, which isn't based on a comic. It's based on a classic book. 10:30, 11:30, you have George of the Jungle. And then, no, wrong. You have 10:30, then 11 o'clock is King Kong, which, you see King Kong there. Then 11:30 was George of the Jungle, followed by noon. These are all Eastern time, so at 11. So really, the Saturday morning lineup started at 8 in the morning with Casper, and then the Beatles was at 11, at least my Central time. And then after the Beatles at 11:30, American Bandstand with Dick Clark. Okay, that was, and then, if there was something on, like, let's say you aren't into Journey to the Center of the Earth, there's probably was something great on one of the other channels, because you had CBS and NBC, and also.
Where Trump is up, currently up, and one thing we've been talking about here behind the scenes is all these polls really don't know. Polls can't necessarily be
Fantastic.
Polls are swinging
Number 11.
President Trump's favor. The one thing you can look at is the betting markets, and the betting markets, Poly Market has Trump.
Number 12.
Nationwide, which those are huge, huge numbers. You can tell when people start putting money on things, that's when things get really serious, and that gives you a real indication of which way
These stickers, are usually half. That have, I was wondering, why is this marked $20? But I probably got it for 10. It must be so high just because of the cover being so spectacular, and also the condition of this thing is the condition is really nice. If you look at that's probably why it's so much. Ooh. Number 13. And there's a Marvel Boy story. Ooh, boy. Wait till you see one of our grooviest heroes from the frantic 50s, Marvel Boy. One of the first comics, the first time I went into Marvel, first time I went into Lone Star Comics in the summer of '77, I got a book a comic that reprinted Marvel Boy stories. It was like Marvel Super Action or something, and then later Marvel Boy, they brought him into the current comics as, was it Quasar? I don't know what they did in the 90s. I honestly don't know. I just know the old stuff. So don't get me lying. But they brought Marvel Boy back and called him something else. Here's another copy of the same issue. This is 14. This is that classic shot that they used in the Saturday morning cartoon. You constantly see him coming at you like this, Yeah, Steve Ditko is such a genius. Human Torch versus the Asbestos Man. 14. 15. Another copy of 15. Oh, there's a comment from Missing Mars. I wonder what he's saying. I see that I'm getting notifications. People are commenting on my other shows. Here's 16.
If you look into the camera and give Kamala Harris and Tim Walz a message, what would that message be?
Stop telling lies about Trump because he loves.
Here's another copy of 16, not in quite as good a shape, but let's open it up.
All right, thank you guys so much. Have a great day. Take care. Very passionate folks here, all here to see the same thing. Hi guys, how you doing? Seriously,
So,
awesome. Come on over, man. How are you, buddy? What's your name and where are you from? That was a good firm handshake, by the way.
I'm from the United States and I live here in Prescott.
Okay, cool. How old are you?
9.
Awesome. So, what do you know about President Trump? What do you love about President Trump?
That he makes the United States better.
He did. He's definitely made the United States better, and he's hoping to do it again on November 5th. It looks like your parents are definitely raising you right. Coming out here, is this your first Trump rally? Is this the first time you're going to see him?
Yeah.
Are you excited?
Yeah.
So, how are things in school for you?
there's an ad for
Doing good in school?
the Spider-Man magazine that came out. And look, ad for the first Silver Surfer, the first issue of the Silver Surfer.
Have a great day. Thank you guys so much. Have a great day, buddy. There we go. Let's get this guy.
Supposed to be a Marvel Boy story in here.
He's got it.
It's the Thor story.
Man, come on over. What's your name?
It's a Marvel Boy story.
My name is Broderick and I am 10.
Awesome. What is your favorite things about President Trump?
There it is, Marvel Boy. It's
Which I totally didn't.
this is Bill Everett art. I can immediately tell that's Bill Everett. So it's gorgeous art.
I just like Trump mainly because he's a boy and Kamala Harris is putting tampons in men's restrooms.
Fair enough. Awesome. Thank you so
The
much,
Serpent
man.
Strikes.
Have a great day. I appreciate it.
Look
Thanks
at
for
that.
stopping by.
Wow.
Hey, what's up, man? How are you? All the youngsters coming out. Come on in. What's your kids? Come over here. Come on over this on this side.
Marvel Tales
Where you
16.
from?
My name is Jonathan and I am from Cottonwood.
Awesome, man. How far away is that from here?
It's just over the mountain.
Okay.
1 hour drive.
That's all good. That's all good. You here with
17.
I am with my mom and with my aunt.
Awesome. Is this mom here? Okay, I just want to make sure. I don't want to have my here if he's not able to. Just want to make
18.
So, with your mom here, what are some of the things that you hear your mom talk about?
19. This is a great story.
Some things that are important
Where Spider-Man goes to a psychiatrist. Number 19.
Things that are important to me is
Number 20.
logic and I like to keep my room
21.
talk about it, but I like to ensure that my family has it right, and people like
22.
Joe Biden and stuff. People like Kamala Harris, they want to control and they want to take away rights.
23.
So that's, and what I like about Trump is that he wants to enforce our rights, and he wants to protect us from
And then I'm missing 24, 25, and 26. That's disappointing.
stuff going on in, all the places, and it should be
So I also need 24, 25, 26. There's 27.
destruction and civil war.
How old are you?
My name is 13. My age is 13.
And you are
Then I'm missing 28 and 29. I'm missing a lot of these.
young man, and he knows his stuff, which is fantastic. Man, I love. What else do you want to
Number
say?
30.
If you had a chance to speak to President Trump directly right now on that camera, what would you say?
I'd say, thank you
31.
for everyone's rights.
That's awesome, man. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thanks, Mom.
Another copy of 31.
Man, so many youngsters that
32.
this is live TV. They just happen to be in line. This young man and his mom stopped by,
Okay.
and it's heartwarming.
So these Marvel Tales, I've got them all separated because I had this box I got with Spider-Man on it, and I didn't want to put my Amazing Spider-Man in this short little box. But I figured, oh, well, I'll put Marvel Tales in it. So this is the beginning of the Bronze Age. To me, when Marvel Comics Group has a strip, scar band, whatever you want to call it, across the top. And Marvel went up, well, this must have 2 issues of Spider-Man in it.
Our sponsor at Patriot
Yeah,
Patriot
33.
just released another amazing product. Trump combat knives are in stock and ready to go. These are
I have 2 copies of that.
combat knives.
I have 3 copies of that.
Trump lover for
And then
limited time.
Marvel, I think, only went up, well, here's 34 is now, it's now a regular sized comic, and it's 20 cents, which is really the era when I really started to collect in big time. This is during the 20-cent era. I mean, there were 15-cent comics that I bought as a little kid, but for the most part, I started buying when the comics had gone up to 25 cent, or big, DC 25-cent books, and in this era, the 20-cent era. This is beautiful John Romita art. Wings of the Vulture. But there's great things about the comics from this time period because you have these fantastic ads for the first issue of Tomb of Dracula and Marvel premiere with the Power of Warlock #1. It's and all these albums and 8 tracks you could get. Wow.
Western Oregon, so over there it's like legalize all drugs. So over there it's like homeless everywhere. There's crackers everywhere. You can't do anything with the homeless. It gets in the way of everyday life, and it's not a good place to live in Oregon right now. What do you do here? I'm a student at Embry Riddle.
Aviation. Awesome, man. You want to be a pilot? Cool. Awesome. I got my Part 61, so that's pretty awesome.
34. Okay, the interesting thing about this time period is they have new covers, with newly done art for the old stories. They're not reprinting the original covers, so if you're a completist, then I guess you've got to get these issues. I got a few here that do not have bags and boards. Here's 36.
That's been very clear. We've seen just some atrocities over the past several years,
just unfortunate things that have happened due to this loose border that we are, lack of a border that we have.
You know, something that they've completely forgotten about and never used in the movies is this spider spotlight, Spider-Man signal. I always like that. And this is early after, he still has the spider webs under his arms that, Ditko. Eventually, those went away. But the Ditko era was beautiful, and this era was beautiful. Harry Osborn was a weird-looking guy, and I don't really understand the hair that Harry Osborn and Norman Osborn had. It's like it's almost like an afro. I don't think I've ever seen any people with hair like that. I don't know. I've never seen one with hair like him either. This is just wonderful stuff. Oh my gosh, the Ghost Rider is premiering. 36. 37. Another one that's not bagged and boarded. These are a dime a dozen. I mean, you could really find these at comic stores for nothing. They're reprinting the original cover, and this is their new cover. I liked this time period in Spider-Man history. I did not like them killing off Gwen Stacy. I just thought it was there was no point in that. I really think Spider-Man belongs in the 1960s, where hairstyles look like that, girls look like that. It's just the time period that I like. Right now on the other I'm looking at Marvel Tales. The other comics for sale that month, you could get Spider-Man 112, Fantastic Four 126, Conan the Barbarian 18, Marvel Team Up 4, Werewolf by Night #1 was on the stands, Tomb of Dracula #4, which I think was the first issue of Tomb of Dracula I bought. I still have it. I think that's the first one. Or was it, did I buy #2? I don't remember. I'll have to look. Whatever one, it has like a girl vampire and Dracula and Creatures on the Loose 19 with Gulliver Jones. Yeah. 37. And I've got another copy of 37. Here's 38. There's the original cover. Here's the new cover they designed. This one's not in the best of shape. Really, I don't know if these would be in the dollar bins, but these shouldn't be too expensive. Look at these. The latest to greatest. You've got Doc Savage, the Gunhawks, and Man-Thing. Yeah, Doc Savage didn't take off. Unfortunately, Marvel's doing some Doc Savage. Then a couple of years later, a Doc Savage movie came out. It wasn't a hit, and Marvel had at that point started a Black Doc Savage magazine, comic magazine, and that lasted for a while. And Gunhawks didn't take off either, but Man-Thing did. 38. Another copy of 38. Here's 39. Got a couple of copies of 39. I don't know. All of a sudden, I have all these unbagged. I'm not sure. This one's in really nice shape. This one's reprinting this issue with this new cover. Number 40. Looks like they've got Gil Kane doing the new covers. John Romita really was a great artist. I've never liked the artwork of his son. I'm not saying, oh, I'm not no dispersion on his son. It's just I don't like his art style. I have that actual real issue there. Oh yeah, I remember this time period. I was in second grade when The Cat premiered. 40, I have 2 copies of that. Here's 41.
And with whispers of another pandemic coming, waiting for the system to step in is a very dangerous gamble. You can't afford to be unprepared. That's why I'm excited to tell you about the Wellness Company's Contagion Emergency Kit, designed by Dr. Peter McCullough. It's packed with
I think I have this original issue. I may be wrong.
and even a nebulizer, perfect for treating respiratory illnesses. Flu season approaches. We've seen drug shortages and pharmacies turning people away. Don't risk being told no when your family's health is.
Oh, I remember this ad. This is second grade. I stared at this so much in second grade. This 2-page spread ad for it's NBC doing this advertisement. So these 2 kids are invited into the television set by the Pink Panther to see the terrific 10 new cartoons Saturday morning, and Adam and Evie were talking about over what to do. Don't look now, Evie, but something funny is happening to our TV set. Adam, it's the Pink Panther, and he wants us to come with him. So they go into the world and meet Underdog, and they meet the Jetsons. They meet the Hound Cats and the Roman Holidays, which is a cartoon no one remembers. You know, you had the Flintstones in the Stone Age and the Jetsons in the future. Well, this was a family in the Roman days, and that didn't. And then they had a cartoon version of All in the Family called The Barkleys. That is not remembered. I think there's a few of episodes of that on YouTube. I never saw it. C-Lab 2020 was the cartoon that nobody watched, and then there's some show. There's a game show called Runaround with Paul Winchell and Jerry Mahoney. I never saw that. So Jerry Mahoney, it's what this ventriloquist. That's a ventriloquist puppet. It almost looks like the back of Alfred E. Newman's head. And then Around the World in 80 Days. I never watched that. And then this show, Talking with a Giant. Kids rap with a different famous guest each week on everything from dreams to space travel. That sounds too educational. I never watched that. I'd like to see it now, though. I'd like to see if there's an episode of that on YouTube. And then they that was so terrible, they leave and come back to reality. And they're all excited about coming September 9th. This is what you're going to see on NBC. Underdog would be my favorite thing from that whole lineup. But those are the Underdog were just reruns. That wasn't a new cartoon. And same thing with the Jetsons. That was a repeat. Looks like NBC is really cheaping out here. And the Pink Panther, those were old cartoons that were originally theatrical. So NBC, the cheapskates. 42. That's an original cover from, that's just recolored, but that's an original cover from the original comic. 42. 43. Ooh, I remember this so much. Monsters Unleashed coming out, and The Haunt of Horror, which was actually a little digest-sized pulp. They were trying to bring back pulps, Marvel was. And then the ad introducing Marvel's new fan club. They had Merry Marvel Marching Society, the MMMS in the 60s, and in the very late, then they had Marvel Mania around the beginning of the 70s, but this was FOOM, Friends of Old Marvel. And I sent off and got my subscription to FOOM and that great Jim Stranko poster that I have framed upstairs and everything.
Or flying in from other states just to get a chance to see President Trump speak. As a woman, how do you
fantastic. 43. Wonderful memories. Here's 44. I have, it looks like a couple of copies of 44. He spent a lot of time fighting Dr. Octopus and the Kingpin around this time. Always like this ad. Shrunken Head and Octopus. Everything that's wonderful in life. 44. I have 3 issues, copies of 44, but I don't have 45. Here's 46. I don't have 47. Here's 48. I have this original comic, the original Spider-Man comic that's reprinted from. That's 48. Here's 49. I have several copies of 49. Here's Evel Knievel. These toys sold really well. And then some reporter annoyed Evel Knievel in a parking lot, and Evel Knievel hit him with a baseball bat, and then the toys stopped selling. The mothers stopped buying the Evel Knievel toys after that incident, as I recall. These are childhood memories I'm giving you. They may not be all 100% accurate, but that's the way I remember it.
The reason I asked that, kind of sarcastically, is because
yeah, and you could say you get your Steve and Edie 8-track if you're from this ad. 49.
for not voting for a black candidate when they're not the best candidate.
Here's 50. 51. Now, I was comparing this issue with the original, and they redrew some of the people's faces in the crowd. I was doing that a while back. This one's in extraordinary shape. Look at that. It's like a brand new comic. Oh, wow. And I really, the early first maybe 10 issues of Crazy, Marvel's Imitation of Mad, were great. Savage Tale. Okay, this is still Savage Tales with Conan. Later, it would become. They would start another comic magazine, Savage Sword of Conan. And so here, you can get your gold coins, Spider-Man, Hulk, and Conan the Barbarian. Conan was one of the major Marvel superstars in the 70s, and then they lost the license. I wonder why they lost the license. I wonder why the estate of Robert E. Howard decided they didn't want Marvel doing it anymore. It seems like Marvel had kind of lost their enthusiasm. Here's 52. The last few years of Conan the Barbarian, like after when the Schwarzenegger movie came out, it didn't seem like the comic was very inspired anymore. It was like running on fumes. But when it was cooking in the 70s, that was a great comic. 52 Marvel. I have some of these. I have multiple copies of these things. Some are like there'll be one bagged, one boarded. Here's 53. Because I don't think I when I'm in a store, I don't remember, do I have that one or not? And just in case, since it's only like $1 or $1.50, I'll buy it, just to make sure. Or maybe it's, here's Marvel. These books are not very valuable because they are reprints, but they're a lot of fun, and it's a lot cheaper than getting the original books.
It just goes to show you what's at stake in this election, and
54.
very moving to hear someone with so much passion.
And then I'm missing 55 and 56, and then What is going on here? Oh my gosh, this is a mess. Okay. This is the first issue of Marvel Tales that I bought as a kid. This one. This is my childhood copy. I need to get it bagged and boarded. This is how I preserved it. And you could get a Spider-Man squirt gun, a Spider-Man motorcycle. But I also have this one here, and I don't think this one's my childhood copy. I should have these bagged and boarded. And then this is my childhood copy of 58. Why aren't these bagged and boarded? And then I guess I didn't get 59. I have 60. What happened was I was into Marvel. I was into monster comics and not superhero comics. I had an issue of The Amazing Spider-Man that my mom had bought me when I was sick, like 120 something. I don't remember what issue. And I had an issue of Marvel Team Up real early with where he's fighting Werewolf by Night. But when I got this Fantastic Four Treasury Edition, and I read that, and I realized, oh, these Marvel superheroes are cool. Then it made me want to go read that Spider-Man comic I had. And then I went to the newsstand and started buying new issues of Spider-Man. And then I got Marvel Tales, which is the older Spider-Man. And let me see what month and year this issue came out. February 1975. So you count, so that would be December of 74. So that's the middle of 4th grade. I really plunged into, and that's when about that time Origins of Marvel Comics came out. I joined FOOM. I plunged deep into Marvel and everything. That's the story on that. All right. Here's 60. 61. This one I bought as a kid. By this point, I think I was in Seattle or Tacoma, Washington. September 75. Well, August, July. This may have been the last thing I bought while I was still living in San Antonio, because that would have been midsummer of 75. And that's the summer we moved. 62. 63. I'm not sure why I took the bags and boards off all of these. I think they were all bagged and boarded, and I must have removed them because they were starting to look grungy or something. That's the only possible reason I would think that I did that. And then a bunch of other copies of 65. And then I've got a whole another box of this stuff. Oh, yeah. What's in this other box? Oh, all the other Marvel Tales, and then at a certain point, Marvel Tales started over reprinting the 60s stories during the early video game era, Burger Time. Except when they reprinted them this time, they tried to update them. So if Aunt May's talking about watching the Beverly Hillbillies, they whited out Beverly Hillbillies and wrote in Dukes of Hazzard to make it like it's happening now. That they made those changes. So yeah, they're reprinting the same thing we saw back in that Yeah, there's just little slight tweaks, but they're reprinting it now for the next generation, the video game generation. And then, yeah, how about that? Marvel figures. You've seen enough of that. How much is left on this disc, man? I'm missing David Wilcock to watch Trump. I'll have to watch David Wilcock after the Trump rally. But luckily, that's something my wife will want to watch. Well, she wants to watch Trump too, but let's see what's in this box. Why, it's a date with Judy. Faster, Oogie. You don't meet many people named Oogie anymore. 52 big pages. Radio's famous coast-to-coast favorite. So you can listen to episodes of A Date with Judy, the radio show, on YouTube, if you're so inclined.
Use the code RSBN. Glenn Beck is walking in right now. That's who everybody is cheering for.
All-American Western.
He's definitely one of my heroes, so he's getting an appropriate
How
response
about that?
from this crowd in Preston Valley, Arizona. The best part about this contagion emergency
Here's Animal Comics.
is the fact that $60 off is a considerable savings, especially when you keep in mind the overall cost.
This?
MakeCareGreatAgain.com. Use that code RSBN. Save up to $60 with free shipping. That's MakeCareGreatAgain.com. Use that code RSBN to save up to $60 with free shipping right now. You see how good my camera guy is? As soon as he heard those crowds and he heard me talking about Glenn Beck, he was on it. We have such
I am looking at the handwriting on the back, and I'm not sure if this came from Night Tiger or from Captain Strangelove. And that's terrible that I don't remember. Very good minus $20. Says there's browning and tanning around margins, some stains on back cover.
So this is going to be a star-studded, jam-packed event. Now, as we wait for Mike to get in here,
Ben Bowie, or
the crowd's going to take him a minute or two.
I assume it's Ben Bowie, like Jim Bowie.
There are safety measures in place for good reason.
What a great cover. That's probably George Wilson.
Border states. And I want to talk about some of
That's
the
just
issues
great.
impacting
You know,
our farmers and ranchers
it's
related to the border, because I know a lot of people in the chat.
the coonskin cap was what was going to sell this comic, because it looks like Davy Crockett.
Are farmers and ranchers in the ag community. And I want to start with the fact that
And I don't know. I guess because of when I grew up, whenever I see this, I immediately hear the Kiss song in my mind.
it's hard to see in that big crowd.
Black Diamond Western. This is Lev Gleason, Charles Biro. This is the guys that did Crime Does Not Pay. Wonderful. I guess I should get more copies of Black Diamond. I don't know.
Every appropriate tool
It's a great comic.
for Democrats. They are destroying our country. Whether you vote early, absentee,
Blazing West.
we are going to protect the vote. That's the most important thing we have to do.
Blazing West number 8.
Keep your eyes open, because these people want to cheat, and they do cheat. And frankly, it's the only thing they
Blazing West number 11. That looks like teeth every time I look at it. But it's just the ornate window design in a stagecoach. Or are they in a train? They're probably in a train car. What am I thinking?
If we swamp them, they can't cheat. It just doesn't work.
A lot of Western books in this box. This one, I wish it was in better shape, didn't have big chunks out of it. If it was, I probably could never have afforded it.
The likes of which no one has ever seen before. We will evict crooked Joe Biden from the White House, and we will take
Bugs
back
Bunny finds the Frozen Kingdom.
2024, the most important day in the history of our country, That's what it's going to go down as. Thank you.
Bugs Bunny hot rod hair. Here's a little Bugs Bunny comic on a rocket ship.
The champion of our nation, Donald J. Trump, will be speaking here at 2
Buster Brown comic book.
You can hear this crowd. They are so excited to see him. And as we have already heard, likely to be a lineup of superstars.
Here's Candy.
With him today. All right, we were talking a little bit about agriculture, and President Trump is a champion for our
Here's a
farmers.
coverless Candy.
Most of us eat 3 times a day, as a matter of fact. And so what our farmers do.
Here's a sought-after book. The cover is almost 90% tape. It doesn't get worse than this, ladies and gentlemen. But you can still read it, and I've got a reprint of this. Yeah, see, it's from the same publisher of that Black Diamond Western. Crime Does Not Pay. This was a very popular comic. There was a whole trend of publishers putting out true crime comics back then. He's knocking his teeth out. This magazine. The magazine with the widest range of appeal, dedicated to the eradication of crime, more than 6 million readers monthly. There are hardcover books that reprint some of these Crime Does Not Pay stories. Now they're up to over 100 million copies sold. That's a lot of comics, man. And these aren't that expensive. Myra Greenblatt's got a really good collection of these things. This one's great. Different company. Crime Fighters #1. That's not a very good tattoo. She must have gotten that in prison. It says Raul. This is how you get cool YouTube names. That's what Myra Greenblatt, he got his name, someone had written in a comic. Raul Magli? I don't know. This comic was once owned by someone named Raul. Or maybe that's the name of her boyfriend. Maybe that's Raul there, and he had just written on her leg. I don't know.
There's Arizona farmers here who are dealing with the unimaginable. I talked to one who was actually
Dale Evans.
And there was a group of Haitian migrants who posted up next to his field, and in doing so, they camped out for about a week.
Dale Evans DC comic. The Roy Rogers comic came out from a different company than the Dale Evans comic, which is weird, but I'm sure there's a reason. Dale Evans as Annie Oakley.
Where the press risers are held. I'm surrounded by CBS, CNN. We never hear these stories, but RSBN allows you to hear the truth about what's happening at the border. President Trump has always stood by our farmers, and that's why we need him back in the White House to protect the backbone of our country and secure our food supply. Another risk is the fact that cattle disease.
The Doll Man faces danger.
With this wide open border, you've heard numerous reports that not just people, but cattle walking right across the border from Mexico.
Don Winslow of the Navy. This is a cool character. I'd like to do a painting of her. I gotta find some good pictures of her. Singapore Sal. What's her name? Like a pirate villainess. Pirate women can be very cool, you know. Robert E. Howard had several cool pirate women characters. Don Winslow of the Navy. What is that? Oh. This is Dodo, Funny Animal Circus Stories. It's a miniature comic. Here's Fairy Tale Parade.
We have a lot of retirees, and because of that, the health industry is booming in this region.
This is a Harvey, Felix the Cat. I'm hoping I'm going to find my Milton the Monster comic in this box, but I'm not holding my breath. Here's from the Great Fiction House, Fight Comics. Senorita Rio. Not to be confused with Singapore Sal. Here's Fight Comics number, I think that says 80, also from Fiction House. You can certainly see the origins of Dave Stevens' style on a cover like that. If you like Dave Stevens, seek out Fiction House Comics. This is going to be a reprint. Foxhole, this company, Super Comics, reprinted older comics. Gene Autry Comics.
Here in America, we have a law called EMTALA. So when an individual comes into an American emergency facility in need...
This is a cool one. Geronimo Gunfighter.
Listen to this. We have a lot more of a crowd at this point. The seats are
Ghostly Weird. This may be one of the most valuable comics in my collection. I need to look into what it's worth now. 123. I don't even think I paid $20 for it, to be honest with you. Now, this comic is hilarious and wonderful. G.I. Joe. Nothing to do with the later action figure or anything. It's a Korean War era comic. There was a kid in 3rd grade. I'd go over to his house, and he had a stack of comics that had been given to him by his mother, and one of them was a G.I. Joe, and I was thinking, I was confused. It's like, does this have anything to do with the toy I have at home, G.I. Joe? And, but it doesn't. So, that comic would have been about 20 years old that he was given by his mother, and he also had a Ditko Amazing Spider-Man. Remember that? It was in terrible condition. Here's Funny Animals number 33. Wait a second. I saw Gene Autry a minute ago. These are not in proper order. Funny Animals should be before G.I. Joe. Should be before Gene Autry. Maybe things are out of order, and that's why I can't find my Milton the Monster comic. Fight, Geronimo, okay, Ghostly Weird, G.I. Joe, then there's a Gene Autry Christmas cover. That should be with the other Gene Autry book. So everything's all confused here. This Dick Ayers cover is spectacular. On this issue of Ghost Rider, not in very good condition. Now, don't get excited about all this and start trying to buy these old comics right now, because this is the wrong time to be making investments like this. Wait and see how the United States is in a couple of months before you start. Right now, you need to be stocking up on supplies and stuff. Here's Giggle Comics. Giggle Comics. There's Goofy Gander. I forget what this comic was. I used to know. Doesn't matter. Gunhawks. This is a good one. Ha Ha Comics. Number 67.
Nothing comes to mind. It seems to me like she
See, stuff like this you could get for a couple of bucks at Duncanville Books. They would have issues of Ha Ha in the $2 bin. That's why I keep talking about that being one of the great comic stores.
President Trump always points to America first.
Everything Happens to Harvey, one of the DC Archie type characters. Ooh, my goodness. It's The Haunt of Fear #9. I need to put this with my EC collection. Not in very good shape. This may be the first Golden Age comic ever bought, possibly in the 77 or 78 at Lone Star Comics. I think it was just a couple of bucks, but it was really cool to see something dated 1953. Hopalong Cassidy without a cover, you don't care about that. Here's Horror from the Tomb. I just threw that in this box. I probably shouldn't have. Huckleberry Hound for President. Someone must have used this for dart practice. It's got all these little holes in it. Indian Fighter. Oh my gosh. There's, I didn't see it in there. This is Harvey Kurtzman after he left EC. He tried to start his own little humor magazine. If he had stayed, maybe Mad would have become something like this, Humbug. Then he later did Trump for Hugh Hefner. And in the 60s, he did Help for James Warren's company. But he was never able to rebottle the formula, the lightning, whatever the cliche is, that was Mad. Jack Armstrong, the all-American boy of radio fame. This is Golden Age. And this is something I really love, one of my prized possessions, John Wayne #6. Not to be, and then I have John Wayne #24. And this stuff has Frazetta art, and I'd love to get more John Wayne comics. And then I got the adaptation of North to Alaska, another John Wayne movie. Edgar Rice Burroughs, John Carter of Mars. There's one with a painted cover. Here is Jumbo Comics. They've got to make sure that their animals are healthy, that they are abiding by all the laws for USDA and the FDA. So they have a lot on their plates. They're too busy. Another, this one I got back in the 1980s. I was hoping that I could become a big collector of Fiction House and Jungle Comics and stuff, and I realized, what am I thinking, man? I can't. I wish I could. But I'm just too poor, man. Here's 16 complete stories of Lady Luck, another really great character. This issue of Laugh, I think it's in this box because it's too wide for my Archie box. I think that's the reason why. It's a little Abner comic. This may be the oldest comic in my collection. Look at this great ad with a tiny print. Unbelievably tiny print. I think this is from before World War II. I think this is from 1940. It's 64 pages in full color. I think it's, yeah, look how thick it is. I think it's 1940. It's called Single Series number 18, United Feature Comic Group publication. Yeah, published and copyrighted 1940. And it's just reproductions of the Sunday comic strip. Well, I mean, that's a wonderful thing, but the print is so small because it's like a whole giant page of a newspaper shrunk down to comic size. I suppose I should have it bagged and boarded. What do you think? Here's little Abner explaining about civil defense. All caps, Shamu Comics. Here's a little Abner comic that reprints. It's a little Abner comic that has an issue of Fearless Fosdick, the hero of Little Abner. This is his favorite comic strip. This Dick Tracy, ultra-violent Dick Tracy parody. And that's always fun. This is Red Ryder's assistant. Oop. Little Beaver. And this is him later in life. No, just kidding. That's says copyright 1951 by Western Publishing and Litho Incorporated. It just says Warrior 17. Anyway, it's Little Beaver. He's kind of like Robin to Batman. Little Beaver is to Red Ryder. Fantastic. Okay. That brings us to The Lone Rider. The Lone Rider. Look how the red carries over to the ad on the back. Brilliant to do that. Look at this ad. It's so gorgeous. And see, all around this ad for the planes are these Indian symbols and the guns that tie in with the front cover. It's very nice design. But the Lone Rider is obviously an attempt to imitate the Lone Ranger. I mean, it's obvious, the masked man that's good. And it might fool your mom or your grandmother, and I'll buy him a Lone Ranger comic, and then they bring this home. Well, Mom, that's not the Lone Ranger. Oh, that's all right. This is pretty good, but it's not. Grandmother's not going to know the difference. There's another copy of the Lone Rider, and it looks kind of cool. Wow, it's almost like the Superman logo, but then you realize all of that was colored in by a kid bored in class. That originally had red letters on a white background, and it's like, oh man, that was done by a kid. But from a distance, it really kind of, the kid might have been a future graphic designer, because I think from a distance, it makes the cover more attractive. It's not weird. I'd have to see a copy undamaged, next to it to really, but right here it makes the red letters pop, till you get too close and realize, shit. This is from Ajax. Ajax, the foaming cleanser. I can't get it out of there. I'm not even going to try right now. I'm too tired, man. I got things to do, places to go, people to see. Here's Lucy, the real gone gal. This is something I've had since the 70s. This ripoff of Madhouse from Feral Publications. Yeah, I've had this a long time. I was just thrilled to actually have one of those Golden Age comics that, I dreamed of looking through the price guide. It's like, I can't believe it, man. Madhouse from Ajax Farrell. It's got a tear in the back cover. Oh man, am I getting arthritis? All of a sudden I have a shooting pain here. It feels like it's. I think it's because I keep holding books up. This is not normal to be holding up comics to idiots on the internet. Yeah, they're trying to make it look like the kind of salacious stuff you'd see from Bill Elder and Wally Wood, but it doesn't look like these are particularly. Well, I mean, I guess it's a birth of a notion. It's not particular. Are these particular parodies of particular things like Mad would do? You open it up to another ad. They're wanting you to become a criminal investigator and a fingerprint expert. Sarah Tan, Nature's Backward Girl. It's a weird comic. They're trying real hard with the wackiness, but it's not Mad. Well, Milton the Monster's in here. It's going to pop up here in a few. Here's a great comic. Man Comics. Look at that. He's about to shove a bayonet into the throat of this commie. It says, exclusive, the most startling story of the war, direct from the actual battleground of Korea. So this was Korean War era. Dangerous mysteries, breathless suspense. Man Comics. This comic is not worth really anything. It's everyone has this. There were millions printed. It's a promo for I don't know, some drink, but it's a great cover, But don't pay a lot for that book. Here's a facsimile of the first appearance of what's his face, Black Adam, that people thought was going to be important, but then The Rock proved that he wasn't important. This is a real issue of the Marvel Family, number 65. Will Milton the Monster be here? Here's Marvel Family 85. I wish I had more Golden Age. I just don't. Here's Master Comics, number 129. Captain Marvel Jr. Oh. Master Detective. Come on, Milton. Here's Maisie. I always like the art style in this comic. Stevie's Girlfriend, Maisie. New Teenage Adventures with Stevie and Flat Top. This has its own distinctive art style. It doesn't just look like every other Archie knockoff. I really like this, really, big time. The Mighty Atom, starring Reddy Kilowatt. What's the matter, Drew? Yeah, it looks like the last book in here is Mighty Mouse. So there's no Milton the Monster here. Scheiße. Well, I don't know what to tell you, ladies and gentlemen. Except I should be having, looks like Donald Trump's about to come out. I should be getting an A-OK package in the mail. Maybe Tuesday, maybe tomorrow. I'll do a quick show and show you that. If you want, if there's any particular books that you're curious about, you want me to show, just put a comment down below, and I will show it to you. And if you'd like to help my wife out, we have a GoFundMe going just to try to, because we're really having some trouble currently. But, you know, if you want to kick in $10, $20, that would be really appreciated. Or just say a prayer. I mean, everything will be okay. But if you want to help us out, that'd be fantastic. I'll put the link down below. I'll be seeing you guys. I am beat, and I'll see you later.